So you can't tell right now, but Greg is actually adjusting the speed at which that's going down. You can hear the sound change, and it got pretty quiet.
Yeah. It's fluffy. It's not focusing. We'll do it.
Super soft snow. And this ice, again, you know about the tempering of ice. This ice is actually really, really cold. So occasionally you can get it stuck up in the topper there. And I've dropped the sound there a little bit because people started shouting and saying some stuff in the background, so to avoid some distraction. So Greg's pulling up some flavors here, and to top these guys off. And if you notice as he's putting those on, and sorry it goes out of focus here for a second, but it comes back. But you can see that the flavor, if that is ice, this is one way to be able to tell the texture. If there was any ice in that at all, that color would leave that top, and it's not. And this is even a better one. I kind of hopped to this one. The red's easier to see. And you can see that it does not leave the top at all. It is holding on to that flavor like a sponge. And later we actually pull it out so you can see how much is actually held at the top. And as people eat their shaved ice, eventually that flavor works its way down. Like I say, that whole snow is like a sponge, but it's not sucking it from the top, and that flavor is not coming past it's not going through the top like it was passing over ice. It's being absorbed by that snow. And so the gentleman that asked us to do this, he asked us to make big ones. That's why we have snow going over the edges, because he actually said he makes big ones, and he wanted to see that on purpose. Normally we would make those smaller so that the flavor stays contained inside.
Spoon straw.
Sorry, and I brought the sound back here so that you can hear some of the discussion that we've had. So we're showing you a spoon straw going into that. And if you can tell, that's like it's like a Slurpee texture. It's very, very soft. As soon as flavor is on that, I mean it is.
Yeah, that is perfect.
There's not a piece of ice in that whole thing. And you saw how fast we made them too. You can compare that.
Sounds.
And here we're dumping it out like I was mentioning.
You can see where you're at.
Yeah.
Your flavor will
I love
go down.
that.
And that's probably pretty good, really.
That's awesome.
I mean, you don't want to drown it. That one I had a little bit more on, and so you're down to that much from the top. One more.
So if you remember this yellow one, this was our original one. And you can still see how much is on the very top.
Probably more flavor.
Nothing is drained off of the top of that one, and it's sat the longest.
But still, I mean, it's...
And he actually brings a spoon straw to it too.
Still, it's easy to go into.
Dude,
No, I'm not focusing.
Squish it with the spoon straw, like flatten it out. Scoop off of that where you did it. Yeah, awesome.
Now the reason that I had him do that is because if you were to squish something with the back of a spoon straw and it was icy at all, it would not do that. It would just sit on top of that ice. If it squishes down and you can move it around, kind of like that really soft texture, then it's very fine snow. So it's another way to show you that, since you can't experience it in person. Now we're moving into shaving, and the person who requested this video wanted to see if you were shaving a lot of snow, and sometimes that causes it back up.
See, you know, you're stopping right there might be okay, but you know, but still, that's
Yeah.
So I mean, you can see
You know,
when I take and push that up. See, I put that there, but normally it'll blow that out. You know.
But if you threw a flower cup attachment in that, you could make that as big as you want, and it wouldn't go back.
Right. But a lot of times it's just blowing. Like
Yeah,
that
see,
time
now
it
it's
didn't.
doing that.
But I packed, I packed it myself when I was pushing it up. So really here, you want to be like right, if you're doing an event, that's where you're at. And some of it's just going to be that. Do a big one, you pack it. Your next one is blow it out. Pack it, it should blow it out. So it leaves something there, but as long as you just pack straight up, it should keep blowing it out. It's blowing it out every time.
Right.
Okay, so there's a couple things that are happening here. One, it's like Mother Nature. That snow is so dry and so light and fluffy and cold that it won't adhere to itself and it'll adhere to other things. It's just like Mother Nature. You walk outside, you want to have a snowball fight off of new, fresh, fallen snow, and you go to pack that snowball and all it does is puff out of your hands. Well, the same thing is happening here. It's so cold and so dry that it won't do that, but it wants to adhere to something else like that plastic top. Now you can get rid of that completely by just letting your block sweat.
And to avoid having to have it back all the way up, if just every 3 or 4 you just clean right there, it's a lot easier than...
But we want them using something, not their finger.
Well, just to tap right there is one thing.
Right.
Not in here.
Right.
But
And Greg's talking about, just knocking off a tip. He's right there, he's saying, don't stick your fingers all the way in it. And use the backhand. He has an ice pick there, and we want to actually just use the back of that pick, and you can knock off the snow that's just right at the very tip, and that'll help it from blocking back as well. So we're going to move into another segment here where we have like a round piece of ice, which our shavers were never built to really shave a rounded piece of ice, but we changed how that block is now being held in it, and this is actually pretty cool video of it containing a block that isn't necessarily intended for this machine. So here we go.
Thing is, so mind you, every part in our shaver was built for a rectangle block, but here's a round one.
yeah.
Now one thing with the new way that we're doing it, we want to bring this top down, and as long as you have this part up and out of the way, it won't let that blade spin.
Or you can have it sitting right there.
Yeah, you can have it even sitting there. Then when you step on your foot pedal, it's bringing down.
But I'm going to leave it up.
And show it bounce a little bit.
We'll show people what the bounce.
Alright, so you can prevent the bounce if you brought that arm all the way down and kind of pinched it, or we're going to have it jump. Oh, is it not even? It didn't even jump. And we're trying to get it to jump. Hang on a minute, go back up a sec. Flip that thing on its side.
Well, that's not
Make
fair.
it jump. I know, but let's just do it. Yeah. We can shave a little ice cube from your fridge.
Kill it right in the
Yeah, I caught it, so.
Look,
Yeah.
but it's still
Just
it's not
constant
fair.
pattern. Yeah. Bam! That's awesome.
Now that block there at the end exploding, that's completely normal. Just a heads up.
Down to that.
But basically, the reason that we showed this segment is that before, and people were having some of these issues where if their block was rounded on top or if it was somewhat smaller, that when that first pressure flap popped off the top of the block, then that block would break free and want to spin around. And we have a brand new way of gripping that block now, so it's a non-issue anymore. And that was kind of a perfect way to prove that, and we actually did that before even trying it, where we flipped that block on its side, and you saw how it corrected itself, and then it wedged in it, and before that pressure flap even, not the pressure flap, but the platform, before it even came down and added pressure to that block, it had caught itself and was waiting for it to come down and continue shaving. Anyway, that's a pretty cool feature right there. And probably draw this to a close. If any of you have any questions, please by all means ask them. And if you need an answer in a video like this, we would be happy to do it.